The mellow bank to wall is such a fool's gold. You're like, oh, this needs to be sick, and then it's just not enough. When you fuck up on a wall ride, you're just running into a wall. That hurts. I think both of them, you got to think about like your arc, like think about it like a rainbow shape. If you go too straight into the wall, you're just going to smash into it and kind of like not go very high, and like all your momentum's going to go into the wall. So you got to kind of keep your momentum to go across the wall, go at an angle and push hard into it. Try and go weightless, or just try and lose the weight against the wall. Just hold on enough where you're riding on it. As you come in, you want to maybe lift up a little bit and put your pressure back on your feet, you know.
Good.
I don't remember exactly learning them, but I remember skating like really tight, crappy quarter pipes at Oregon parks, which feel like a wall ride, you know, because it just goes to vert really quick. Where I really kind of fell in love with them was in San Francisco when I was living there, and the Alabama Bank wall ride that I had a bunch of stuff on in Inhabitants. I was near where I lived, and so I would go get coffee at Phil's Coffee and skate that wall ride. It was a somewhat smooth parking lot, so it was a fun place to play around. When I was a kid, like East Coast, I remember like people doing like wall ride nollies all the time, like just in lines and stuff like that, and it felt like a real urban kind of street trick, you know what I mean? I don't really have like a specific wall ride that stands out from my early days or anything like that, but as an adult looking back, skateboard history, I would say the early stuff that I remember is Tommy Guerrero and stuff, like taking the ramp to the schoolyard and the jump ramps to the walls. San Francisco, you know, it's super hilly, so whether there's like a transition to a wall or just like a hill next to a wall, there's lots of opportunities for wall rides. Around the time that I moved there, I was skating a lot of like barrier kind of stuff, you know, like DIY, which is kind of essentially a wall ride as well. So I think that I already was into like tight, quick, steep walls. And then just living close to that Alabama Bank, a spot that I love to go to a lot, so that ended up being a regular stop by on Alabama Street, so they call it Alabama Banks. 25th or 26th in Alabama Street, I think. I live a few blocks away, so like the coffee shop I like to go to was right by there, and the wall ride was like between where I was living and the coffee shop, so I'd go get coffee and then go skate there, meet up with people. I often saw it and thought about tricks, and it often ended up being a place to either like start the day or end the day. So the Wallride hippie jump was the first one, kind of early on when I moved up there, and then I did one like ollie over the bar, then ollie out, that one, and then the like switch Wallride revert was all kind of around the same time period, and then the rest of them, like the front shove it Wallride or big spin Wallride, and then like the kickflip fakie and front side flip Wallride were all kind of either the same day or within like a week. The shove it Wallride was something I had planned on doing, and then the kickflip Wallride was something I thought of when I was trying the big spin Wallride. And then the front side flip Wallride was just kind of a suggestion from my friend Ken Goto, who was shooting photos. I was like, dude, it's the wrong way. Doesn't work that way. And he's like, whatever, dude, you can do it. Just kind of like talking shit. That was like an unexpected one. I didn't really think that it would work or thought how it would work. I just started kind of like throwing them at the wall and just seeing what would happen. You got to kind of like guide it as you land it. I mean, that one in New York where he does switch wall ride off the stairs over the bank and over the pole is incredible, you know. I remember early on when he first started coming out and he had a sequence, wally over a barrier to like tail slide on a railing. It was in Minefield as well. Seeing him do that kind of opened up my ideas and mind a little bit. I mean, I'd done like wally back tails on things on like steep banks. The idea of doing one frontside seems so much harder to me than backside because you have to keep your weight so much above your board when you're doing it. So just seeing the way he did all that kind of stuff was just like pretty mind-blowing. And he's continued to do like some of the most incredible wall rides ever. He had that one in SF where he like switch volleyed off a little bump over a railing. Frontside wally or frontside slappy clipper or whatever is unbelievable. That one in Montreal too, that giant metal wall that goes down. I don't know, I call him Skate God because he can kind of do anything. And you see him do something, you're like, oh my God, it's possible. Or kind of. Wall rides can be like really fun and feel really weightless, you know, like when you get them to work right, you just kind of like slide up them. So they can be kind of like frustrating in that sense that like if you don't do it right, you feel like you're just like running into a wall, which is not always fun. There's a lot of room to kind of play around because of that weightlessness. For the bump to one, it's almost like you're throwing something at a catcher's mitt. If you miss, you have something to catch you, not like a ledge, or if you like miss the top, you're going to slip over and fall. There gives a little more room to play because you can kind of like throw your board at it. The board will either land on the wheels or upside down, and then you can kind of figure out what you need to do to kind of get back on it, you know. The hard part is like getting onto the wall, and that has a lot to do with like judging what your bump is like and how much time you have from when you pop to hit the wall, how close the bump is or how far away, whether you need to like do the trick at the wall or up the wall. And then usually like if you get back onto the board, then your momentum and gravity is going to pull you down towards the ground anyway, so you just got to kind of hold on. But sometimes they can be frustrating because if you just aren't leaning the right way, they'll just like zip out or you like hit the ground and then just won't stay on. It kind of depends on the trick a little bit, but for the most part I think it's the getting the board onto the wall is the most difficult thing. When it comes to skating like the top of a wall, it's a little bit different. Kind of want to aim for above the wall, thinking that you want to be like kind of going onto the deck almost, if there was a deck. And so I just try and be as weightless as I can. Almost like when you smash into the wall, use your weight to kind of get yourself up there, and then the board will hopefully follow you. I think that people just thought of wall rides as doing like a frontside wall ride or a backside wall ride or like a wall ride nollie. Didn't like put a whole lot of thought in the range that you could do on a wall ride. Over the last 5 or 10 years, people have been pushing the boundaries, and I think that there's still a lot of room to experiment and to play with wall rides. It's an area that we haven't fully tapped into in a way.
I just needed to wax it the entire time.
Doing tricks off the wall is something that people haven't really played with as much. It's pretty difficult, but people have done wall ride kickflips and that sort of stuff. Still, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to do different kinds of things off the wall and on the wall. A lot of range of like skateboarding kind of goes in different directions, and people can think about getting real tech when they think about skating ledges and things like that. But you can also get really technical with a wall ride because there's a lot of room there. I think people definitely think of me when it comes to wall rides, so I think that kind of goes with my shtick a little bit. I don't know if I like try and play that role of like the Wallride guy.
Yeah! Hell yeah, dude!
I just kind of like enjoy them, and like I said, I see opportunities to do stuff, and I have ideas that are like, maybe this will work, maybe this won't work. It's like a landscape that hasn't fully been explored. A lot of shit you can do on them really requires finding the right bank to wall, which is also kind of cool about Wallrides. It's a quest and everyone's different. So you gotta be like, okay, this one's good for this or this one's good for that.
Something's coming round the bed. Something's buried in the text.
This one might work for this, or like I need this sort of bank to wall for this kind of trick. I think that I'm like a spot seeker, so I think I like the idea of always having to like search for the perfect wall ride. Also knowing that there's like a lot more possibilities than what has been done. It's kind of exciting in that sense that you could tap into something you haven't thought of before. Those tricks at the Alabama banks were probably my favorite just because it was early on and really a discovery moment of like what I can do and what is possible for me.
Flowers today, blooming by the pathway, on the edge of tomorrow's grave, bright shining way, living in the shadows, trying to be the master of tomorrow's slave. Down in the mine, circle around a diamond, serpent of your expectations, sleep.